Kia ora, this here is the only LEGO Despicable Me 4 set that I think most people have a large amount of interest in, including myself, and boy is this set an odd one. This here is set 75583, Minions and Gru Family Mansion. This was released in 2024 alongside the release of the 4th Despicable Me movie, and 6th total entry in that franchise. 868 pieces here, essentially 9 minifigures in total, which is pretty decent value, and this set here retails for 100 USD or 170 NZD, which is $10 more than the US straight conversion. The set has been regularly dropped down to 130 NZD though in store sales, which is exactly how much I paid for it. The set overview here on this one is a more iconic landmark from the Illumination series. This is Gru's house complete with the family and a few references to the brand new movie. And to make sure I understood every reference, I went out of my way to see this movie early, only for me to then realize it's actually based more on Despicable Me 3, because this scene here depicts the belated honeymoon sequence, a movie that I have in fact already seen years ago. Many pros and cons are with this set, so let's get right into it. And the first part to look at here is what I want to call a side build, but really it's a pretty substantial inclusion. This is the Treehouse build that even continues on to include its own little side build. So this party area here contains some interactive elements for the girls to play around with. We have some bongos here with sticker details and these buildable tiki designs. Color usage here is really nice, though they do fall off that platform pretty easily. I like that use of the plant life piece here too, which includes this butterfly piece that I don't think I have in my collection until today. The side of the build here features a surfboard with a couple of rules detailed as a sticker, and there's enough room here for one of the kids to stand by and mess around. The treehouse itself is taller than that party pad we just looked at. The vibrancy of colors here is really fun compared to the grey and black of the house. The treehouse does have these really nice looking lanterns on the sides here and some celebration decorations too alongside that tree. Off to the side we have this small little crate. Inside that box we don't find anything though. If we turn this tree around we can see the inside space on offer, plus a look at how the decorations here work. They're placed on a web line piece and it's wrapped around the tree. It's a very tight fit as well, so the line manages to stay perfectly in place. And so up above we have the seating area, which is where the girls can serve Gru and Lucy their gummy lolly soup. It's either gummy bears or gummy worms. I haven't seen the movie in a while. It's a cool little area with 2 sticker designs of bamboo and 3 seats for 3 different figures. There's some pretty interesting decoration designs here for this tree. The orange one kind of looks like a fish and the blue one looks like a lantern. My favorite part here was getting a whole bunch of these really cool looking leaves. I don't think I've seen this design before, so it was pretty exciting to put this together, and so many in one set too. These two builds do connect together through use of a flexi tube piece which attaches to both and it acts as a zipline. It works enough. It's not as exciting in person though, because once you've separated these builds out far enough for that zipline to function, the minions already made it to the other side. Still, cartoony sets having play features like this is always a big win for me. So now we get to take a look at the real reason why you would want to buy this set in the first place. It's the house. I think enough time has passed to say that it's a pretty iconic looking design from that franchise, and part of why I was so attached to it is because I've made it no secret here on this channel, I am a big theme parks enthusiast, so I am very fond of those Universal Studios parks. And what's amazing about the set is that while it does feature quite a few flaws in being an accurate translation of the movies, it's actually a pretty good translation of the park's facade. Our front area here shows us some dead grass and some fall colored leaves. This isn't actually what the house looks like now in these sequels, but it is likely the more preferred style, being based from the first film. There's a small letterbox here on the side, complete with a letter as well. The front door can open, though I do wish we had the accurate purple color here. Looks like that color doesn't exist in LEGO just yet. Very minimal design here for the front entrance. They use some forced perspective when designing that driveway and garage area, because if you look at the source material and then you compare this, it's insane, right? There's a very small patch of land here, which is where I have been storing this little cart, which we will be using in a minute. The build only improves as we move up. I do really like the shaping going on here and those details of the pipes and the windows. Looks like a really cool looking haunted mansion. The pipes connected by a very small clip. Some window shutters would have been nice here as well, but I think the design is a bit too small to fit those. We also have a minion up top here in the window. I could not tell you which one this is. It's a sticker design on a circular disc piece. The way that they get the shape up top is by bringing the 2 roof sections in together like so. These are also really nicely designed parts with some smooth tiles on those sides and the Dorito base shaping. It's connected by these clips here at the ends. The window on the other side here is placed over top of a green tile to help stand out a little against those other windows in the set. We also have this cool little quirky chimney which is added on the inside build. We can now spin the set around, and yeah, the interior is pretty busy and it's fun to play with, but it's also very compact and crammed in together. The house features no walls, which is crazy to me. It's something that makes it for a very hard sell in my opinion. It feels like a set from a different era of LEGO designers. Our entranceway here is a lab complete with monitors of sticker designs. Science and laboratory builds are some of the main things that I first think of when it comes to the franchise of Minions and Despicable Me, so it's always nice to see that kind of stuff here. And up above we have what I think is an alarm system and some pipes that lead to the other rooms. Our main interactive feature down here are these rotating units with all sorts of different inclusions. On our first one here we have a toilet, complete with loo roll and a toilet brush. Gru can be seated easily. Rotating around we have a stick of dynamite and a broom, and then we have a control panel of sorts which might explain how these things are rotating. The other side here features a ladder and a water cooler. We also have another little control panel section and a weapon rack, and then another small crate down below which features some cookies inside. This is also what the cart is supposed to be used for, just for storing those cookies. Now we take a look upstairs. This here is supposed to be the main living room area, Gru's chair and some neat decorations for up top. Gru can be seated here on that throne, and there's also a small table here with a cup on the side. That leads to the build of the chimney from earlier. The other side then is the girls' room, complete with a rocket bed. I love the build that's going on here for their bed and the design of having carpet down below as well. There is enough room inside for at least one of the girls to be placed. Directly above the rocket we have some stickers of drawings from the girls. Got some Minions, the unicorn toy, and Lucky the goat. Final room up top is the red couch, so it's still kind of based in a living room setting. There's a small table with some cupcakes and another cup there. The couch is strange, it's built into the walls of the set, so it's a little distracting my eyes. There's enough room here that I was able to squeeze all three of the girls on the couch though. And directly above the couch is the final segment here. We have a lamp overhead and then a family portrait of Gru and the girls, and also Kyle, who is not included in the set. On to our minifigures now, and for me personally, this is unfortunately where the set falls apart. Here we have Gru, who has been a requested figure since the Minions 2 sets some years ago. Gru features a grey scarf and some nice cartoony details like those bags under his eyes, but the character translation here is possibly one of the worst I think I've ever seen. Some figures, especially animated characters, really need some molded looks, and LEGO have been very particular in the past on which cartoon characters get minifigure heads and which ones get a specially molded head. I've talked about this before on this channel at length, but when LEGO removes some of the principles of animation from their characters when designing the minifigures, they are removing the character. Exaggeration is a very key element of animation and something that LEGO likes to ignore frequently. He does make for a really good looking Uncle Fester from the Addams family though. Removing Gru's scarf, you can see some of the really nice minimal details here on the torso. I think that's going to be a useful piece for me in the future with some customs. Obviously the production cycle is different for each LEGO theme, but I am fascinated by the release of the Dr. Robotnik figure earlier this year and the year before that included one of the best translations I've ever seen with a head and body combo, and none of this had been repurposed for Gru. This is Gru compared to the child version of himself from those Minion sets. I remember at the time everyone complained about the likeness translation, but it being the kid version meant that I thought it was fine because obviously the adult version was going to be a bigger improvement. I was wrong. Gru is a bad minifigure. And so here is Lucy, who unfortunately suffers the exact same sort of treatment. Removing her nose, the big eyes, and the wrong hairpiece here makes for a generic inclusion. I love the colors of the clothes that she has here, but the fact that her scarf is printed when Gru's wasn't is yet another flaw on this minifigure. The face, like I mentioned, doesn't feature any of those character principles, so it just looks like somebody else. Her double-sided expression does feature the glasses look, which she usually has atop her head, and I think that this makes for a better expression, but the fact still stands, I don't think Lucy is a very good minifigure. This here is Gru Jr., the baby minifigure inclusion. I don't have too much to say here that hasn't been said about this baby mold already. It was a really great and unique piece when it debuted in LEGO City, but every time that they've used this mold for a licensed character, it just doesn't translate very well. It's tricky. The baby mold is a bit too small, it can't really do too much. There's no hairpiece that could be included or anything, so it's basically just the same baby repeated. It looks like Jack Jack from the Incredibles line. Gru Jr. in my eyes doesn't look like Jack Jack in the movies. The baby is able to be held in the hands of other minifigures if you would like. I wish we had a carrier or something, but this is fine as well. On to the other kids now. Here we have Margo, and I think she's fine. She's not perfect, there's a couple of things I don't like, but we'll get into that. Margo's expression I think is probably the best out of all of them. It's a very easy character to translate, so there's nothing to really praise them on here. The hairpiece is off though, that ponytail should hang lower, and I really wish we could start seeing some brand new hair molds for popular styles. We need more variations on things like ponytails. Margo here has a face on her shirt, which is fun to see. Usually the LEGO team has designs like this in the form of minifigures. I'm disappointed disappointed to see that she is the same size as her younger sisters. She's usually portrayed with a skirt, and you can't get that here with these small legs. It would have been nice to have seen those mid-scaled legs instead to at least make her taller than Agnes. Her double-sided expression is just a simple smile. Margo is probably the best human figure here, which is unfortunate for these next two to cover. This here is Edith. She's the middle child, and when the images were first revealed of the set, she was the very first figure that I noticed in the photos and I disliked from the poor translations immediately. So really, I guess I should have known that from that point I was set up for disappointment here. Her prints are nice. I like the pinks used here, and it's always going to be useful for customs. She is, I believe, the right height as well. No problems with her using those little legs there, but the hair hat combo is way too over the top on this minifigure. LEGO have reused an already existing piece that features a different type of beanie, and the hair is overflowing on her sides. Removing that hairpiece there to see those expressions, the grinning look fits the character better in my eyes, and it looks a lot better too, but I'm still very thrown off by that hairpiece as a whole. And then there's Agnes, who, sorry to say, for me, again, like the others, is also a lackluster minifigure. The issues start here with the height, of course. These three siblings I don't think should be the same height as one another. I don't like her prints here because the colors are also off a few shades, and I don't like the face print that's been chosen for her because this face is, in my eyes, a lazy inclusion now. It has been regularly reused in the Jurassic Park line for both Tim and Lex, and it's also used in the Harry Potter line as well. Does Agnes have freckles in the movie? I'm not too sure. If she does, they're very faint. The worst offender here is that, you probably guessed it, the hairpiece. If anyone needed a new hairpiece, it was her. There's no red scrunchy here, and it doesn't look like a spin top. Double-sided expression of a sad look, which is partly fitting for that character, I think, at the very least, but that about does it for the disappointing human figures. Now for the saving grace, the Minions. All three of these weird-looking dudes are unique and exclusive here, and they do make up for a few of the shortcomings in my eyes. This here is Mega Minion Mel, who uses parts already introduced in the line, but with an extra attachment for the eye. The Mega Minion Mel figure has the ability of Cyclops in the movie. He's got laser eyes, so he uses a little spy goggle piece of headgear there. For those who aren't aware, this is how those Minions body parts work. I love the LEGO design team when they get to do something weird and special like this. Cartoony designs to LEGO have always been a personal favorite of mine. The set also includes many spare parts of eyes, so if you wanted to, you could easily remove those goggles and have a regular Mel for your little display. Mel is also featured in the other sets as a regular character. Here he is compared to the Banana Car set version of that figure. He's pretty close in design to what Stuart looked like from the Minions ones, so this is me showing you that level of reuse on these two figures. I view it as a pro more than a con. It does mean that they get to keep the theme quite well from the last series of releases. This here is Mega Minion Tim, who is one of the better inclusions here. Tim obviously showcases some stretchy powers, so he uses the exact same arm piece that we saw from Ms. Marvel and Elastigirl. My favorite part here though is that the way to connect the arm to the torso is by removing these specially molded hands, which means that this tube is fully removable from the body. You even get two of these tubes in the set. The body is all printed parts too for that extra long look. If you wanted to, you could remove those extra pieces and have him almost appear as normal, and he's pretty close to being the same height as he is in the other set actually. This is him here compared to the Banana Car counterpart. Tim here uses parts introduced with Kevin from the Minions line. This is Mega Minion Jerry, who resembles the Thing with a rock-like formation, and I think Jerry here is pretty great. His printing is very different from the others. Texture is a big shift here compared to those previous figures. Jerry is two pieces connected together, a dome-like head is removable, and there's a little bit of room inside if you wanted to, I don't know, use it for storage. Jerry here to me best resembles the Otto molds and the Stuart molds, but I believe the character is entirely new for this Despicable Me line. Really impressive figure overall. The box art of this set features the house on the street and the family all together out front. I really like the box art design for the Minions and Despicable Me base sets. On the sides we've got the entire family, which really hurt the likeness translations. Really shouldn't be bringing more attention to that LEGO. Up top we've got the Minions messing around, and then we have a display of all of the LEGO variations all together. The back of our box here shows the house and key details that we covered in this video. We've got those spinning units down below, a really nice display image of the whole set in action. The instructions for the set are included in two manuals, book 1 being the Treehouse and book 2 being the Family Mansion. The instructions are pretty simple. We have an image of the set all built up here at the end, followed by this advertisement of the full wave of sets besides this one. There are 4 sets released here in total, 3 of them being minifigure based and 1 of them entirely brick built. I think the party bus is pretty interesting. It's got another Mega Minion there to complete that little collection. Surprisingly, it's accurate to this movie as well actually, more than the mansion is. Some scary looking brick built characters here, though I think the minions actually don't look too bad. And then we have the banana car, which isn't super accurate to the movie, but it does feature some very accurate depictions of minifigures. The next image here shows us the inventory, and that's all we have. A second instruction booklet has the exact same thing as you would expect. We have an image of the set all built up here at the end, and then we have the exact same advertisement from the other booklet of the same sets, but in a much bigger, nicer looking scale. And then we close out with our winning figure. The last thing I want to do here while I run through the final thoughts is complete this bigger ensemble with even more minions. Overall, unfortunately, it's a bit of a mixed bag. This is the quintessential set idea here, besides Gru's awesome looking car, which I do hope we see at some point in the future. The house makes for a very strong silhouette design, and I actually really like the interior space and play features. I didn't think I would, but hey, you know, I'm sold on those. I imagine this would go over really well with the younger demographic, but I hate the lack of walls here on the sides. It barely feels like a house build, it's more of a facade. There was so much effort put into the extra treehouse and the interior, and yeah, it makes for a really compelling scene that reminds me of the SpongeBob line from all those years ago when I was a kid, but when I look at the treehouse, I just see parts usage that I would have rather seen go into fixing up the house. I don't mind if it's not fully enclosed, I've kind of gotten over that now, I just want it to feel a bit more like a house. I love the LEGO Minions line for the unique designs of the minions themselves, and the weird mega minions do save the set for me because all of those human figures are either disappointing or a genuine swing and a miss. The figures of Gru, Lucy, Edith, and Agnes look terrible. As minifigures, they're fine. As character translations, a huge flop for me. This is a sale price purchase for sure, because if LEGO want to charge me more than $150 for a toy, it better be deserving of that price, and unfortunately, these minifigures just completely ruin that for me. That's it from me. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, well then liking and subscribing does help you support more videos like this one in the future. Ka kite ana everyone, thank you for watching, I hope to see you all next time.